Star Trek Discovery is ending. Hey folks, Sean Ferrick for Trek Culture here, and the news has broken that Season 5 of Star Trek Discovery will be the final season of this show. The news broke yesterday. Alex Kurtzman and Michelle Paradise issued a statement that was released on StarTrek.com in which they thanked the fans for their support, and they confirmed that yes, after 65 episodes, Discovery will be coming to an end. Sonequa Martin-Green also took to social media to thank everyone for the support that they've shown to the show, and also to say how blessed and special she has felt heading the cast of this flagship show for CBS All Access when it came in, Paramount Plus now. Of course, this news has been met with a variety of responses. A lot have been lauding what Star Trek Discovery brought to the franchise. When it came back in 2017, there was nothing on television for Star Trek at that point. There was, of course, the Kelvin series of films, but with Star Trek Beyond's seemingly lackluster response at the box office, which I'm going to come back to actually in a few seconds, the future was not bright for Star Trek until Star Trek Discovery came along. And of course, we have discussed it at length on this channel. There has been polarized views since the Vulcan Hello aired. I'm going to speculate for a minute as to the decision-making that has gone into why Discovery is ending. Star Trek is a very expensive franchise. Now, if you think of whatever else you think about the shows, think how good they have looked since 2017. The amount of money that's been poured into the visual effects, if nothing else, has just been stellar. Some of the best looking Trek that we've ever got has come from Discovery onwards, and of course leading into the other live action shows, Star Trek Picard and Star Trek Strange New Worlds. If you look at the shows that are out, we know that Star Trek Picard was always a 3-season done deal. So that's coming to an end at the end of the currently airing Season 3. So that leaves 2 live-action shows and 2 animated shows. At an investor event on February 28th of this year, Paramount Global Chief Financial Officer Naveen Chopra talked about how basically cost-cutting is in the future for Paramount. Paramount Plus is currently in the middle of a merger with Showtime, and there's a lot going on. We have raising prices for subscriptions along with cutting back of various properties. He announced that while 2023 would be the peak year for investment in streaming services, rolling out their own streaming service has been an incredibly expensive affair. You won't have to look very hard to see the frustrations that we have shared on this channel with all of the fans this side of the pond as well, with how the rollout was handled through 2020, 2021, 2022. And of course, let us not forget removing shows from other streaming services. Of course, Star Trek Discovery a couple of days before Season 4 was due to drop. If we look at the shows in terms of cost saving, where it makes sense to make the chop is Star Trek Discovery. Strange New Worlds is just out the gate. Picard is finishing up, and of the live action shows, Star Trek Discovery has had 4 seasons already. There is a 5th which is currently in production. So if one had to go, it does make financial sense for it to be that show. With any series, as seasons go on, costs tend to go up between, crew member salaries, staff salaries, and just production costs of the show. So it does make sense that Discovery would be the one on the slot. Perhaps you might be watching this video going, this is a lot more boring than Sean normally goes on with news. And I would say to you, finance is dull. It is, it's one of those things that it's the beast we all have to deal with, and streaming services like Paramount are no different. I'm not particularly happy about this news, I'm not gonna lie. Star Trek Discovery, whatever people think of it, there are things that cannot be denied. It reinvigorated Star Trek for the small screen in a very similar way that Star Trek 2009 reinvigorated it for the big screen. It gave us new stories. It gave us new time periods. We firmly believe that once Discovery jumped into the future, into the 32nd century, it really, it found its feet. And I am a little frustrated that we've only got, well, we will only get 3 seasons of Discovery set in that timeline. While season 1 is aging quite well, I recently rewatched Vulcan Hello and Battle of the Binary Stars, and I have to say, I went, that's a lot better than I remember it being. And season 2 I really enjoyed at the time. I think seasons 3 and 4, with obvious exceptions for further details, see any reference I've ever made to The Burn, the acting generally came up a notch, the production values came up a notch, and the freedom that the show felt after moving away from being hamstringed by being stuck in the 23rd century, I think that was the right direction to go. Losing Michelle Yeoh was a bit of a blow. Obviously now, go near the internet and you'll see what she's up to, but she brought an energy to Star Trek Discovery. Star Trek Discovery as well is a fantastic depiction of difference, of representation, of the original idea of Star Trek, infinite diversity and infinite combinations. It is not lost on me that the show that is being brought to an end is the one being led by a female protagonist who is a person of color. I do hope that this will be picked up and addressed in whatever the next spin-off series is. Alex Kurtzman did tease, for further details, have a look at The Hollywood Reporter, and he did tease that there is work happening on a spin-off series, Star Trek Academy, that would be set in the 32nd century. Now, that will make, if you think of the producer of Star Trek's 2, 3, 4, and 5, Harv Bennett, he'll be delighted to hear that. He was trying to get that made for, his entire time with Star Trek. There was originally a pitch that Star Trek 6 would become Kirk and Spock at the Academy. So, it only took, 30 years for it to come to fruition. But that would be fantastic because we know, obviously, Tilly went to be an instructor at the Academy. Brilliant. We get new, young casts to root for. So I would be very here for that one. The link to that article will be in the description of this video. A bit of a missed opportunity. Now, I say that, but I haven't seen any of season 5, so we don't know. But a bit of a missed opportunity is that season 2 of Star Trek Picard seemed to set up what could have been a spin-off adventure for Wesley Crusher and Corey. We were hoping here, behind the scenes, that maybe they were going to turn up in Star Trek Discovery in the 32nd century. Wesley, by being one of the travelers, time is effectively meaningless to him, so he could flip between the different time periods. That could have been fantastic. And we may yet see that in season 5 of Discovery. I would very much like to see that. The crossover fan in me would love to see it, but also it would just be nice to tie these various franchise or elements of the franchises together. In the announcement of the ending of Star Trek Discovery's 5th season, Alex Kurtzman did announce that there would be events throughout the rest of this year in certain key markets to celebrate the show coming to an end. I suspect we're going to see things on Star Trek Day and various events like that. And I think, let's celebrate Discovery if we can. It doesn't need to be your favorite Star Trek. That's fine. Already, you see the comments coming out, good riddance to bad rubbish, I think was one comment I saw. Come on now, there's no need for that. You don't like it, don't watch it. Speaking of other elements of the franchise, and as I mentioned earlier on, the Star Trek Beyond, Chris Pine was recently interviewed. Faye Watson of Games Radar reported that Chris Pine sat down with Alex Papademos of Esquire for a long, in-depth interview about where the star is at. And of course, there is no interviewing Chris Pine at the moment without discussing the long gestating Star Trek 4. When asked about where Star Trek 4 is in production, he honestly answered he doesn't know, and that, quite honestly, it feels a little bit cursed. He repeated a point that he's made in the past, that Star Trek Beyond in 2016, which made something like $340 million, was seen as a disappointment because we've lived in the era of the Marvel blockbuster for so long that if a movie doesn't do $1 billion at the box office, it's considered a disappointment, and Star Trek is not immune to that. Pine reiterated that he believes the best way forward is to appeal to the existing fan base, not to shoot for the $1 billion, but to shoot for the ones, quite frankly, you know are going to come and see the film. So make the film for them. Papademos actually told Chris Pine as well that, and speaking to Abrams, J.J. Abrams said that there is a script in existence, or at least a story in existence for Star Trek IV that is as compelling as Star Trek 09. Chris Pine was very surprised to learn this. He didn't know that. Although he did say that a lot of the time actors are the last to know these things. And that's understandable. He is certainly not the only person to have ever said that. He spoke about the feeling that went through everyone after 2016, and of course with the loss of Anton Yelchin, that there was this feeling of a curse hanging over any sequel. I would very much like to see a Star Trek 4. I think at the moment, the future it's not in the upcoming years, put it that way. I would be so happy to be wrong in that one. But until I see a trailer, I really don't know what's going to happen with it. It does seem like the interest is there. It seems like James Kirk is ready to return to the franchise. Check out that interview that is available online in Esquire. You can obviously find it through our affiliate sites like Games Radar. And let us know what you think about this news. Are you delighted Discovery is coming to an end? Are you over the moon that it looks like Star Trek 4 may not be happening? Or are you seeing this as a bit of bittersweet news? Let us know. Thanks very much, as always, for watching, everyone. You can catch us over on Twitter at Trek Culture and on Instagram at TrekCultureYT. You can catch myself at Sean Ferrick on Twitter, or you can catch our lovely editor Tom at Tom C. Finn on Twitter as well. Everyone, you look after yourselves till I see you again. Live long and prosper. Remember, infinite diversity in infinite combinations. Thanks very much.